Welcome into the Jordy Culotta Show. Wave your hand out there, baby!
Shout out to the show.
She puts the pinky into the nostril. Man, look at that.
Healthy competition, there's nothing like it.
Y'all grow up.
The line's wrapped around the stadium.
Different strengths. I just lost a tooth.
It's going to be fun.
You know, we might have a story.
I love what you're doing.
Ogeron wants to take us fishing this afternoon.
Sharif, you play for the bad boys of the SEC, man. We don't apologize to anybody.
A lot of people are saying you're going to be wearing number 7.
I don't really know. I want to.
He look crazy, Bill. Good feet on the old man.
Definitely come back.
We'll be right back with the Jordy Culotta Show. All right, welcome into a Monday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show. Right here, as always, built by our friends over at RMB Builders. Get in touch with Rhett Bourgeois. You can find him on Instagram today. Hit him there at RMB Builders social media or online at rmbbuilders.com, rmb-builders.com. Hopefully everybody had a good Easter. Cold out there, wet out there. Inside for your boys, Stewie. A lot of fires inside the gym this weekend. Stewie's here. Happy Easter, Stewie. How we feeling?
Easter. It was good. It was good.
All
Easter.
good?
Yeah.
Rained out on the baseball fields this weekend?
Rained out on the baseball field. It's a chill weekend.
Yeah, for sure. Pretty good weekend of sports. If you were nestled in, was watching the Masters. The Masters with that was a scary moment when those trees fell on Saturday. I don't know if anybody saw this, but there was a couple of video images that caught the trees falling at Augusta National, and my goodness, man, that is some of the scariest video I have ever seen. The fact that nobody was hurt, the fact that nobody was killed is it's almost a miracle with as many people and for 3 trees to go down. Thank God that didn't go down in a grandstand area, but everybody's okay. John Rahm is the champ over at Augusta. We'll talk a little bit about that. LSU women's basketball could be receiving an enormous commitment with the news of Louisville guard Haley Van Lith going into the transfer portal. If you remember coming out of high school, her runner-up was Baylor. So not just because of LSU's popular brand here, I think this makes a lot of sense. So watch out here. The rich could be getting a lot richer, as last week we talked about what Angel Reese and what this LSU women's basketball program, the impact that they're going to have on the transfer portal could be. And we may see it happen pretty early here with one of the superstars of the sport in Haley Van Lith out of Louisville, the All-American, going into the transfer portal. So we'll wait and see, but look out. LSU women's basketball brand is on fire, man. They were featured on a segment on Saturday Night Live on Saturday with Angel Reese being a part of it. I mean, like they had like the LSU gear on. It was an incredible just showcase for the program. Whether you thought the bit was funny or not could be debated, but the fact is that LSU's getting a minute and a half, 2 minutes on Saturday Night Live with the brand being aired on that show. It's pretty powerful. It's also powerful to see what's happening with this women's basketball program right now. So look out with what could be going down as far as the portal is concerned. Some news around the men's basketball program that we'll get to. In fact, Jalen Cook, the Walker native, is going to be in studio with us at 8 a.m. as he will be here. He's a former Tulane. He spent the last 2 years over at Tulane where he was averaging 20 points a game and 5 assists this past season. Really an electric scorer. He started his career with Will Wade in the LSU men's basketball program. He transferred out to Tulane and is now entered back into the portal and is committed to LSU. So in back-to-back days, LSU picks up a couple of Baton Rouge natives. We talked to Jordan Wright, who transferred in from Vanderbilt on Friday. If you missed that show, you can go in and check it out. It was an abbreviated show, just about an hour that we talked to Jordan Wright, and he was here explaining on why he had recommitted, or not recommitted, had committed back to his state school at LSU. And Jalen Cook will be here this morning talking about his decision to come back to LSU after spending the last 2 years over in New Orleans at Tulane. Adam Miller on that same day announced that he was going into the portal, so we'll also talk about the effects and what that can mean. Sean Phillips as well. We reacted to that a bit on Friday. And then the LSU baseball news, right, over the weekend, as LSU baseball gets washed out of Game 3 in Columbia, South Carolina, but in a very emotional Game 2, comes back and wins in dramatic fashion. Who plays hero? None other than Gavin Dugas. I mean, Dugas, every single time he's asked to step up, he has answered the bell this season, and he does it on the road in conference play against a really salty South Carolina group that was looking to take the series. And that could be a game that I think LSU kind of goes back to at certain points of the season and says, hey, look, that's where, they had a moment. They built some trust. They built some confidence because South Carolina was ready to play, as we said on Friday. A very impressive South Carolina group. They're freshmen who had just a enormous night in Game 1 with the home run off of Skeens, and the grand slam later in the game was just a heck of a matchup. And for LSU to save that game and win that game on Saturday, on Friday, I thought was tremendous for the overall number one team in the country. And look, Garrett Edwards, this is going to have to, this will be a story on what's going on with him, but that's something that could affect the season. You can't start losing arms if you're LSU, and with the news of Chase Shores last week and what could possibly be there to Garrett Edwards possibly being injured, and one of your trusted relievers. We'll wait and see. This happened in the 6th inning of Game 2. He was holding his elbow after he threw a wild pitch. Just one of those scenes that, from a baseball standpoint, if you've watched the game, just doesn't look good. I mean, you've never seen a lot of good outcomes come from reactions of that. He's been LSU's top reliever all season. He's got a under 1 ERA in 22 and a third innings pitched. That was going into the game on Friday before the injury. But LSU obviously has been dealing with a rash here of injuries now. They've already lost Grant Taylor. They've also lost a couple of other guys like Caleb Appleby and Jason Bowman for the season. But Chase Shores' status is still unknown right now after being ruled out last weekend. And Javen Coleman still has no timetable on when he can return. So, you hate to see this possibly be a story for this really good team. Now, I will say that Gavin Guidry again stepped up, and Guidry is a dog. I mean, this kid came in and recorded the final 2 outs on Friday, gave a stare to the South Carolina dugout as if to say, we can do this all day. They weren't going to hit him, and it was very, very impressive. And then, of course, Friday, Gavin Dugas, really kind of the two Gavins stood up and played hero on Friday's game as Guidry sits down the South Carolina batting order, and then Dugas steps up in the 10th and just is having a remarkable, 5th year, just unbelievable. Jordan Thompson had a really good series. I thought Thompson hit a couple of bombs on the weekend. He hit one on Thursday. He had another one on Friday. He also had a couple of big walks on Friday in that game, and defensively, he's been playing really good. So, look, a lot of positive to take away. My biggest concern is Garrett Edwards, man. I mean, if Garrett Edwards is injured, and that did not look good. I mean, as soon as he threw it, he grabbed his elbow. I mean, it's one of those injuries. It's kind of like a football knee injury. I mean, you kind of know when you see it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like those baseball elbow injuries. It kind of feels like you've been so trained to kind of what to look for. Usually when the indicators are there, I mean, it's usually every single time not good news. I don't want to go there, but we'll wait on the official word of what happens out of LSU baseball. But for as good as they are, and LSU is loaded, deep, intimidating, got a really competitive national championship type group, you can't afford to lose arms like this. You can't go back-to-back weeks where you lose a couple of your top relievers, and that could be possibly the case if you're talking about Chase Shores going down and Garrett Edwards not being able to go. So we'll wait and see. I'd imagine that Jay Johnson will have a lot to say about that. He'll be on with Mikey and the crew tonight. That's always coming up every Monday. So make sure and check that out. But all in all, I thought that it was a really impressive, game 2 performance for LSU. LSU just kind of had, no pun intended here, but it was really kind of a perfect storm for LSU in game 1. Skeens gave up 2 hits. They were 2 home runs. After that, he was really starting to settle. He had 8 punch-outs. 8 strikeouts. He was dealing. And then the rain delay hits. And then, behind closed doors, you're thinking, okay, if this thing doesn't last too long, maybe you throw him back out there, but then it went a little bit over an hour, and it's just, he means too much for the program, man. And they tried to kind of piecemeal it after that, and they couldn't get it done. And South Carolina, credit them. They've got a lively lineup. They were fired up, ready to play. It was very much like LSU's atmosphere last weekend, 2 weeks ago now, versus Tennessee, where, everybody around here has been looking forward to that series. And that Thursday night game was electric. There were 13,000 people there. That Thursday night game in Columbia, people have been talking about that one for a while. They showed up. They were ready to roll. So for Saturday, LSU to show back up, or Friday, for LSU to show back up and take that game away like they did in the 10th inning. That's what national championship type teams do. We'll see, man. Hopefully they can navigate this arm, kind of minefield that they're going through right now and save enough of them where they can be competitive throughout the season. Kentucky's in town this weekend, and Kentucky has been playing really good over the last couple of weeks. They've been one of the hottest teams in the league. So LSU, again, has their hands full as far as the matchup goes. LSU will play Friday, Saturday, Sunday with this series, and, of course, we'll have some input throughout the week with personalities like Chris Blair and Doug Thompson kind of catching us up what's going on. Best way to keep up with your LSU baseball news, though, is Mic'd Up. Jared Mitchell and Mikey Matuk, couple of former All-Americans and first-round picks for the Tigers, national champs, have a podcast Monday, Wednesday, and Friday over here, a part of our group and a part of our family, and they do great, man. Jay Johnson's on with them every Monday night. You will not find more intense and greater breakdown of LSU baseball than Mic'd Up. There's just no way. There's no way. It's a must listen in baseball season. If you don't mind, hit that like button, share button, comment button as we get going here on this Monday. A lot of places we could go here. We'll get a little bit down the road before we get to LSU men's basketball, as Jalen Cook's going to be here at 8 a.m. Really looking forward to catching up with Cook, man. I had a chance to call a couple of Cook's high school basketball games when he was at Walker, and including called a couple of his football games his junior year. And people may not remember, he was a very, very high-end football recruit. He had offers from a couple of SEC schools, including like Ole Miss, Arkansas, Mississippi State, Tennessee. I mean, he was a very high-end football player. Chad Mahaffey, the very successful University High coach from a couple of state title runs or 3 state championship run during his time at university, has accepted the job over at Walker within the last 5 years. And his first season there, he had a chance to coach Jalen and really used him in some creative situations that, really got some some college football coaches thinking maybe he can, in a day and age where size and speed, don't necessarily have to be these football check marks where, if you're fast enough to play in space and you may not have the size, people will take a gamble on you. Cook was one of those prospects that really had a choice to make. I mean, he was the state's best basketball player his senior year, but he was the state's he was one of the state's top football players his final couple of seasons at Walker as well. So we'll talk to Cook about what it was like playing at Tulane the past couple of years, what he intends to do when coming back, and we'll also talk about the impact of Adam Miller announcing that he's transferring out with Sean Phillips, a couple of faces that you thought might be back for next season. Sean Phillips for sure, as far as the youngster went, but both of those guys out. We'll talk about the impact coming up here in a couple of minutes. Odell Beckham Jr. has agreed to terms with the Baltimore Ravens on a 1-year deal. This deal could be up to at least $15 million is what he can make, and he can make as much as 18. 13.8 of it is in the signing bonus. The salary this year will run just over $1.1 million, and then he'll have $3 million in reachable incentives. Will Beckham. I love Odell. I hope that this works out for him. I will say that Baltimore does not seem like the greatest fit for him right now. First off, I hate the division. Cold, rainy, physical division, a division that he's played in with Cleveland, right? I mean, he's played in a couple of divisions that have been brutal. The NFC East, of course, with Dallas, Philly, the Giants, and Washington, to the NFC. What's that, the NFC Central? Or that would be the AFC Central.
You talking about
Baltimore, Pittsburgh.
Oh, that's AFC North.
AFC North. Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. I mean, that is a brutal division. And now with Beckham going back, hopefully now they can get this Lamar situation hammered out, and this could be maybe the news that gets it over the top. I just hope that Odell can stay healthy more than anything. I know that he can still play at a high level. How long can he sustain playing at that high level is my only concern. I would just, I hope at this point in his career, he's been through so many surgeries and so many injuries at this point that, football, obviously, it takes its toll. And, at this point in your career, and Odell is now past 30, has just turned 30. Football's a different game for post 30, and in that division, it's physical, man. That thing is it's a fist fight every week. So hopefully he can stay healthy. I'd love to see him have a couple of more years in the tank, on where he could squeeze out maybe 2-3 more years of high end football, where you can see him, catch a crossing route and pick up a big gain. I mean, how fine was Odell back in the day? You realize this now, the more that you watch NFL football, there's only a couple of people on the planet that can catch a 5 to 8 yard to 12 yard route in the NFL and take it the distance, right? I mean, when I say that, who comes to mind? Tyreek Hill comes to mind first, right? Of somebody that can just catch it and change the scoreboard, right, from anywhere. Before Tyreek Hill, the only player in the league that was doing that was Odell. Odell was literally catching slant routes and taking them the distance on NFL football field. I believe his first touchdown in Cleveland for the Browns is on Monday Night Football. But I know this because we had Booger McFarland on either the next morning or the Wednesday morning following this play. And they're playing the Jets. And Cleveland is backed up inside of their own territory. I think they have the ball at like the 10 or 15-yard line. You may be able to pull it up, Stewie. But Odell catches a slant route on an NFL football field and never gets touched. He splits the safety in the corner on the catch, and then he beats the safety to the back part of the field and just outruns everybody, and he's holding the ball kind of like a loaf of bread. I mean, it looks as if he's just doing this very easily. Now, early on in his days in New York, he did that a couple of times where he'd catch, 10, 12-yard crossing routes. He'd split the middle of the field, and he was gone. Like, gone. Nobody touch him, gone. On an NFL football field, I mean, that is so hard to do. I mean, that is so difficult of a feat to accomplish. And I remember talking to Booger about it. I believe it was the Wednesday after that, asking him, Boog, how many people on the planet can do that? Like, how many people do you see week in, week out in the NFL that can catch a slant route 75 yards away from the end zone and not get touched going the entire way? I mean, he was so electric and such a freak on a field of freaks.
Talking about this.
This is it, Stewie. This is it. Look at that. Catches the ball at the 20. That's an 80-yard touchdown run on an NFL football field where he never gets, and it really didn't look like he opened it up. Mm-mm. I mean, there's a couple of runs versus when he's with the Giants where he catches some crossing routes, and he's got to really like put his head down and run and get away from people. And he just like runs out of the screen on people. Some of the finest highlights you'll ever see Odell Beckham Jr. in his prime. Forget the catch. The catch is what draws you in.
Yeah.
After all of that, I mean, like the plays he was making his first 3 years in the league, I still don't think that we respect. I mean, like, because you get enamored by the catch. You get enamored by, I think he made a similar type of a catch against Washington where he caught it with his left hand. He just kind of like grabbed it real quick. It was like, boom. It's like a vacuum. But, I mean, just like the 10-12 catch games against Dallas, the 8 grabs he would have early on in his career where he would just bust a play wide open, bust a game wide open.
Right here.
I mean, I guess Jamar has that. Jamar has the capability to catch. I mean, he did that. I remember him catching that slant route at Baltimore his rookie year, and he spun out of that tackle, and he took it the entire. I mean, that surprised me.
Jalen Waddle Jalen Waddle has it.
Yeah, he has it.
But that's like,
we're
talking about 3 or 4 players.
It's 3 to 5 people, man. I mean, like there's not a lot of people on the planet that can do that. It's just there's too much speed, there's too much strength. But I mean, I don't know if Odell he cannot obviously get back to the form that he was early on in his career, but I still don't know if we truly respect how good he was his first couple of years in the league. Coach. See ya. Look at that, Coach. And that is an NFL football. All those guys are running.
I was about to say, that's like, that's DBs and
that's
corners and
all
safeties.
Those guys are sprinting after him.
That's 4 3s and 4 4s at the combine running after him.
He was so fine, bro. He was fine. I mean, he was the best. He was so good. Hopefully he can get it back. So he signs a 1-year deal with Baltimore and potentially could make $18 million. You would think if this does not work out, this would be the end of Odell, right? I mean, this would probably be the end if it doesn't work out, and you hate to see that. It's been a hell of a run, man. But hopefully he can squeeze a couple of more years out of that body and create some memories with Lamar Jackson. They need to get that Lamar Jackson deal done. They need to get everything settled in Baltimore and get that train moving back down the track. It'll be fun to watch those two if they can, figure it out, man. If they can get it going, it would be fun to watch those two try and try and get going. Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by Katie's Restaurant. Speaking of New Orleans, Odell Beckham, one of New Orleans' finest restaurants is Katie's. Katie's in Mid-City. You can find Katie's. They're located on Iberville Street over in New Orleans. Been around since 1984, man. 3701 Iberville Street is where you can find them. They also have their sister restaurant, which is Francesca's by Katie's, that is located over in Lakeview. Great selection of choices, man. Their menu is incredible. Whether you are looking for a pizza and a slice of a beer today to just kind of get you on your way, or you're looking for a New Orleans style po' boy, if you're looking for a good healthy dish to get through the afternoon, all of that can be found at Katie's in Mid-City. Katie'sInMidCity.com. Tell you all the time, if you want to get a personality of the city, if you want to get a feel of the city, if you want to get the senses of the city, the sights, the smells, the sounds of the city, all of it, you can catch over at Katie's. Katie'sInMidCity.com. Katie'sInMidCity.com is where you find them online, and easiest way to really get in touch with them. If you're heading through the city this week and going in from Baton Rouge and want a good place, who did I talk to? Tom Granning, a friend of ours, obviously, great friend. Old Tommy G over in Natchez. Make sure and stop him and see him at Go-Mart. He was in the city a couple of weeks back and stopped over at Katie's and loved it. Loved his experience and was shooting us a couple of pictures inside the text group of some of what he had ordered, and just that he loved the place. I guarantee you'll love it. Check it out. Katie'sInMidCity.com. Katie'sInMidCity.com. That's down in New Orleans. Shout out to our New Orleans listeners down there. More bad news around Zion with him being out for the playoffs. And New Orleans fell last night 113-108 to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And Anthony Edwards led the T-Wolves. Edwards, bro.
I mean,
is that what Zion's supposed to be?
I wouldn't,
26-13 last night.
I wouldn't say that's what Zion's supposed to be because he's a guard. So, I mean,
Who?
Anthony Edwards is a guard.
But so is Zion. He's playing point guard his first 2 years, Coach.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a little different.
It is, but I mean, he can get those numbers.
Yeah. I guess that's what Zion's supposed to be. I mean, I guess that's what the Pels thought they paid for. Like, the excitement, the leadership, like, that type of stuff that you don't see from it, like Zion.
With the loss, the Pels fell to 9th place. They'll host the 10th place Oklahoma City Thunder in a elimination game coming up on Wednesday night. The winner will hit the road to face the Timberwolves Lakers loser for the 8th seed and a first-round date with Denver. I got to be honest here. I'm tapping out. If I'm a Pels fan, get me to the offseason. Very disappointed with the way that this thing has ended.
Was the 1 seed.
What's that?
Pels were the 1 seed at one point in the season.
It looked like a consistent, definitely going to be like a 2 through 5.
Yeah.
Like they were never going to slip past that. And then once the wheels came off, they just
play-in game.
I mean, they've been riding on the axles.
Jeez.
For a month. I mean, with the news around Zion, with the losses, with the inconsistent in the lineup. I mean, look, Brandon Ingram looked great yesterday in spurts. I think he had 40, at 42. McCollum had 23. Trey Murphy's still filling it up. Herb had 35 the other night. I mean, they've got some positive stuff going. They just can't put it all together at the same point, man. For whatever reason, they can't put it all together. And Zion, for as much as I love Zion and I hope that he gets it figured out, he is consistently the issue that they have to work around. Right? And, I don't know what the status is. I don't know what's going on, but it just has not worked. It has not been something that you can count on. It's not been anything that you can plan for. And in the NBA, when you're going into another off season like the Pelicans are, where, you just don't know the status. I don't know, man. I'm just kind of tapping out. I'm tapping out. Marcus Stewart, Jordy, Zion plays power forward. Zion is the positionless player that the NBA is trying to get towards, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stan Van Gundy ran him at point, and I could argue that was where he was.
That's where he was best.
At his best. I mean, he controlled the game, and he's such a fantastic passer.
I was going to say he has that like facilitator like.
Absolutely, he does. Well, I mean, he understands that. I mean, the defense is going to converge on him when he's got the ball in his hand. He really what he does better than anything is he controls his body. Mm-hmm. I mean, you would think that he would probably lead the league in charges. In that type of, but he's able to just control his body and make the right play. I would put the ball in his hand the majority of the time. The fact is, I mean, the point is, you can't ever count on him.
Yeah.
I mean, you hate to start doing that, but when he's available and he's consistent, I mean, he's what made, really, Lonzo Ball expendable. Yeah, I mean, think about it. I mean, when did Lonzo really lose his value with the Pelicans? It was when Zion was healthy and playing out there every night and showing that you don't really need a point guard. I don't know, man. Pell's got some stuff to do in the offseason. They got to figure out the stuff, man. I mean, just got to figure out who's available. And look, a lot like we talked about with the Kamara situation, and this is a little bit of a different deal with the Kamara and the age and the respect and all that he's done for the city, but look, man, I'm not opposed to throwing the discussion on the table of, what I've heard that he's barking for trade demands behind closed doors, and maybe that's the fact, man.
Who's Zion?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Maybe that is the case. I don't know what his value is. I don't know who would really, pay for what he could be worth when he's healthy.
So the Pels lost to the Timberwolves after they got in a fight on the bench?
Yeah, Gobert smacked up that dude on the bench.
Yeah. And then the dude broke his hand in the hall, punching the wall. Out for I guess he's out for their next couple of games.
Sweet. In a win.
Hey.
Cordell Zion running the pick and roll is a cheat code. Cheat code. It's unguardable. I mean, it's indefensible in the league, or at least it was for about a 3-week month stretch there. The league had no idea what to do with it. Jeff and Kenner, Zion is not barking for trade. Come on, there's a lot of stuff coming out of New Orleans about what's going on with just the stability and the future of the team. I think there's a lot of people internally, teammate-wise, that are a little frustrated. Of what's the program going to be? What's the outlook? How can you count on anything? How can you build anything if every single year it's the same story? It's one thing to be on a rookie contract, not playing. It's another to be on a max deal and still having the same issues. So, I don't know. Get to the offseason, man. Tap out. All right, we're going to talk to Jalen. We're going to talk to Jalen Cook coming up here at 8 a.m. and really looking forward to it. As we said, LSU basketball had a flurry of news late last week as Sean Phillips was the first to go into the portal. Ace Wolf followed by entering the portal. And then LSU picked up another commitment from Jalen Cook, who is a local hometown kid from Walker, on the heels of Jordan Wright out of Dunham pledging to LSU last week as well. So lose two, get two from LSU's standpoint. And from the two that you pick up, it's a lot like the blueprint of what Kim Mulkey and Brian Kelly have kind of laid out, have been successful as far as rebuilding and restoring rosters. Right? Both those programs, LSU women's basketball and obviously football, had an undertaking of rebuilding the roster and really, putting together a competitive group in a short amount of time after a ton of turnover. And the way that Kelly did it and the way that Mulkey did it was find as much of local talent as you can that wanted to leave schools that they were in, people that were already in the portal, and bring them home. And start there and start to build kind of the pride of the program first and, make it attractive for people that would be, either visiting, interested in visiting, or being recruited. And then go win. right? I mean, get out there and win first and really throw some jet fuel onto, your pitch, to what you're selling. And one thing that Matt McMahon and LSU did last year was they went out and they restored the roster. And they did it at a rate that was, pretty impressive, right? I mean, it really was. I mean, to see what they took on and the way that they finished up as far as the roster looked, it was just an incredible body of work. Now, it did not work out on the floor. And I think that they learned some things. Look, they just tried to throw a bunch of Band-Aids onto the program last year, and it just didn't work. And they got to go out. They got to find better talent, right? And I think that you can look at a blueprint like Jerome Tang and Kansas State and what they did, because they did pretty much the same thing. They went and got 7 transfers, 8 transfers. The nucleus of that team was transfers, and they were they were within one shot of going to the Final Four. So, from a basketball standpoint, I think it's not impossible. And it was commendable what McMahon and his staff were able to do last season. But I think with the success of programs like Kansas State and what can really be done now in the transfer portal's here. It's year 2. If you don't understand it and you don't know how to recruit it, well, you're going to get left behind. So LSU's got a chance to put this thing together. I mean, look no further than Manhattan, Kansas. And what Kansas State was able to do last season. It can be done. You got to hit, though. You got to hit on these players. And you can't take mid-majors anymore. And I think LSU really learned that. You may be able to get one. I mean, you may be able to get someone that can step in and play for a year, but you can't go get 3 or 4 players from mid-major programs and expect them to be your starting group, the nucleus of your starting group. But Jordan Wright will do, and, if Jalen Cook can transition that 20 points a night over to the SEC, that would be phenomenal. But they've got to upgrade the talent at LSU men's basketball immediately. And I'm not saying anything that they don't know, but that's where they are. They've got to get there. I think last year was just build the roster. This year it's build a competitive roster. And starting out with those 2 guys, I think, is huge. Now, would you have liked to have kept Sean Phillips out of Adam Miller and Sean Phillips? Out of those 2, if you were saying you can have one, I would take Phillips just because of the unique style of what he is. He's 7 foot. You can't teach that. You can't coach that. You can't produce that, right? So he was one of those young guys that I thought they had to hang on to. Terrell Ward, obviously is another one. Jalen Reed would be the other one that they've got to keep. I mean, they've got to keep those guys. Sean Phillips was in that class for me. I thought that he was a freshman that played really quality basketball down the end that, you looked and said, hey, that's a future piece you got to keep. And as far as Adam Miller is concerned, Adam Miller is a hit. People that don't believe that Adam Miller, he didn't hit a shot. He didn't do it. Man, Adam Miller was so far out of position last season, it wasn't even funny. He was being asked to do things that he just does not do well, right? It was very unfair to Miller, the prospect, for him to be, asked to do those things, judged on that part of his game, because it's not who he is. He had to do it because of what we just talked about. LSU didn't have a lot of talent. He was one of their best players. He had to do a multiple of things. He had to do a lot of things. Some things that he just wasn't good at. But if you put him around talent, if you put him and give him a role that's specific to, being the scorer or being the defender or being whatever his role is, he can do that. And he's a really good athlete, and he's a guy that, coming off of a knee injury last year, I think was probably a little unfairly judged, and someone that a good team has a spot for. Now, I'm not calling Adam Miller a pro. I'm not saying that he's an NBA guy. I'm saying that he can be a very, very good college basketball player, and one that a winning team can use. So just to say that, Miller's leaving and he's no hit, come on, wake up, man. Just because he wasn't good on last year's team, we're going to judge him? Some nights he was playing 1-on-4, 1-on-5.
If I'm not mistaken, wasn't Kansas State one of the schools that was like
TCU, Kansas State?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so he was almost on a Elite Eight, Final Four team type team.
And he wouldn't have had that type of
weight on his shoulders at all. He would have been able to be himself and really saw the real Adam Miller. But, best of luck to him.
Go 10, Jordy. Why Adam Miller couldn't shoot? Well, that's not who he is. He's a slasher. He's a get to the rim type guy. And if you can put him in situations where he's not doubled, where last year all you had to do was double him, or you could put your best defender on him and just back up off of him and let him shoot, because it's not who he is. Does he need to get in the gym and work on his jump shot? Yeah, a lot of sophomores in college do. Right? I'm not making an excuse for Adam Miller. His shot needs to get better. But if you believe that Adam Miller won't be missed on a team where he would play quality minutes, well, you just don't like Adam Miller, and I'm not trying to hear to make you like him. I get where there's parts of his game that are bad, that need improvement. But you're telling me that we don't have a spot for Adam Miller on a winning team, on a team that's trying to be good? I would say that's not right. You can find a role for Miller where you can plug him into and say, hey, man, you don't have to shoot 10 jumpers a night. You don't have to shoot 12 jumpers a night. I would improve that in the offseason. I would put up 300 to 500 shots a day if I was you, to try and improve that part of your game. But as far as being able to put the ball on the rack, on the wood and get to the rack, he can do that. There's room for that. Can he keep guys in front of him on the defensive end? There's room for that. That's all I'm saying. Is he an All-American or an All-Conference player? No, he's not. But do you have room for him on a squad that's looking to compete? Absolutely. You can't just say, hey, let Adam Miller walk on LSU's team. Who the hell's LSU? They don't have the luxury of saying, let that guy walk. You better fill that spot. And if you're trying to fill it now, you're looking to upgrade it. And Adam Miller, year 2 coming off the knee injury, around some talent that's going to take some pressure off of him, is a better player. He lost his biggest asset. That injury took away his explosion, his first step, his ability to run by somebody. You saw that kind of starting to come back at times, but for a basketball player, for certain athletes, it takes a little longer than others. That's just that's the truth. Joey Jett, there it is. He's a role player. When he came to LSU, everybody acted like he was supposed to be the star player. I think if he would have been on the team 2 years ago that had talent around him, he would have been a lot better player than what we saw last year. Would he have been a star? I don't know if I'm ready to call him a star. I know this. At Illinois, on 2 fresh legs, he was not the player that we saw this year. If you go back and look at his freshman highlights of him at Illinois, that's the player LSU thought that they were getting. A guy that could get to the rim, that could explode, that could jump, that could play above the rim, that was a really high-quality athlete. So, I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair to judge him off of a knee injury. I really don't. Username 5617. Before last season, Adam Miller was Jordy's God's gift to earth. Not true. Go Tiger 10, Jordy, but Adam Miller was sold as the next Ja Morant. Not by this show, brother. I mean, like,
What?
I don't know where you heard that. I don't know who told you that, but I have never had Adam Miller and Ja Morant in the same sentence. And if I had, find it. Show it to me. But, I mean, I've never believed that. I've never thought that, other than that they have the same hair. Their game is not similar in the sense of where it's close to being relatable to one another. I mean, Ja Morant's got some stuff going on off the floor. On the floor, that dude's a freak.
And I haven't heard Ja get in any trouble since he came back.
Right. Forgive the 20-year-old for spending a lot of cash in a strip club after he became a multimillionaire that week from Nike and Powerade. Good God. I mean, like, get a life, people. All right, we will be back. We will talk to we're going to talk to Jalen Cook coming up here in 10 minutes. LSU football back on the spring practice field this week. And we will talk about that a little bit in hour number 2. Come back with us. We'll continue the LSU basketball discussion. We'll also get back to Augusta. Man, how scary were the trees falling? I've still got it on my bucket list. I'm looking to do the Augusta thing. I was telling my dad yesterday, we were celebrating Easter over at his place, how I would love to do kind of a, me, him, little Jay, maybe an uncle to Augusta for like a Tuesday through Friday trip. Catch a little bit of the practice rounds where you can be a little loose to seeing what it's like on the grounds for a day there of actual play, and all of how serious it is. I talked to Peter Burns, who is he's a friend. He's from South Louisiana. Obviously, he's on the SEC network. He went to the Masters over the weekend, and he talked about how much of an enjoyable experience it is because phones are not allowed. How it's what he called an engaged sporting event, one that he has not been to. He felt like in over 20 years, it felt like, because everybody, is just on him too being guilty. Where you go to the game, you watch the game, and as you're watching the game, or you might be in person at the game, you've got your phone opened up and you're paying attention to Twitter, what's going on in the other games. Right? I mean, our attention span has become so just cut down where we can't function without scrolling or swiping or refreshing, even if it's 3rd and 6 with a huge play on the line in the second half. Right? I mean, one thing that Burns said was going to Augusta was it was so refreshing that nobody had any phones. Everybody was talking to one another. In fact, I had a conversation with my kid over the weekend, and this is a little bit about parenting. And we're going to regulate the time on the phone here daily, especially like on a week like this where he's got, it's a holiday this week. It's spring break. Because, I mean, what the phones and what the technology does to the personalities of, all of us, right? All of us. But I'm viewing it through the, kaleidoscope of my son. It's just, it's so bad. And then, last night we went and watched Air, the movie. Kelly, Jay, and I went to Air, and I know it's R. I'm sorry, and he's young, but basketball. But we did like the lunch yesterday, or I guess all day yesterday, Easter, and then last night at the movie, and then Saturday we were kind of reined in after he had a full day in the gym, and we went and got something to eat. And it had gotten to a point where I was like, enough with the phones, bro. I'm done with the phone. Put the phone down. No more phones at dinner. We're not having the phones at dinner. We're going through a time period where we're going to regulate the phone, maybe 30 minutes a day of the phone, because there's no engagement. There's no, how was your day? Good. No. Over here. Like, how was your day? Like, look at me. How was your day? It was good, right? I mean, what was good about it? You ask him something like this, and it's like as if I'm pressing him and he's on a witness stand about, like, some murder. It's like, just tell me about your day. Like, who did you talk to? What teachers did you interact with? What went on? And it's, you know, like you got to kind of break through this gauntlet right there at the start to get there. But then once you get them going, it's like they don't even need the phone. They don't want the phone. I told him on Saturday, you're such a cool kid without the phone, man. But then the phone for 10 minutes, and it's just like, I mean, who are you, bro? It's like this zombie that doesn't talk, that doesn't look up, that doesn't want to converse. And it's just, I don't even know how I got there. Augusta doesn't allow phones. I love it. I want to go. It's on a bucket list. 8 o'clock, we're going to talk to Jalen Cook. Come back with us. Jordy Culotta Show, built by R&B Builders.
Hey Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, whether you need to fill up your vehicle or your belly, stop by Go-Mart and On The Go Deli. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you might need on your trip. So stop by Go-Mart at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left, and visit Tom and Wright Granning and their awesome team at Go-Mart.
Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones.
Don't let the name fool you. Men's Total Health has offerings for the ladies, too. Guys, is your wife or partner suffering from urinary incontinence, low sexual desire, or pain during sex? Then the O-Shot might be for her. Don't let it scare you. It's totally natural. It's PRP. And Mike Roach and the crew at Men's Total Health will make you as comfortable as you can be. Contact me for more information, Katie at jordyculottashow.com, and I'm happy to tell you everything that Men's Total Health has to offer for the ladies.
Fourier Insurance Agency, established in 1946, locally can help you with any of your home, auto, commercial, contractors, life and health insurance today. Give them a call, 225-383-0682, or log online to FourierAgency.com.
Hey, she's on her way up.
Hey, G, I got you something.
Hey, Coach. What do you think? Is this too much?
If you look good, you play good.
All right, then. Let's get it done.
Donaldsonville Glass and Body, the trusted name in frame, body, and automotive paint repair since 1977. They have served their customers for over 45 years. You can find them online at dgbauto.com or stop in and see them Railroad Avenue and Division Street out in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Look, they can help you with your insurance claims. They can make the repair process as stress-free as possible. I'm speaking from experience here. I've got numerous windshields, body repair, all done by Kenny and the crew over at Donaldsonville Glass and Body. They are, without question, the most well-equipped shop in the area. Stop in and see them today. Shop them online, dgbauto.com, or stop in and see the crew over in Division Street in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Donaldsonville Glass and Body. Hey fellas, it's Jordy Culotta for my friends over at Men's Total Health. Guys, do you suffer from fatigue, Decreased libido, erectile dysfunction, weight gain or loss of muscle mass, signs of depression, anxiety, hair loss, mental fog, general loss of interest, then you might be suffering from low testosterone. Go see my friend Mike Roach and his great team over at Men's Total Health, over in Metairie at menstotalhealth.net online. And stop in and see how they can change your life today. A simple shot and some knowledge from Mike Roach can get you back up, moving with your energy, get your sex drive back, build your muscle mass, make you feel young again. All online, menstotalhealth.net. Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
Get Gordon and get it done. Get Gordon and get it done. Corrects done. Personal injury done. Workers' comp done. Truck wrecks done. Get Gordon and get it done. Get Gordon and get it done.
All right, welcome back here to a Monday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show. Hopefully everybody had a good Easter Sunday, as it was, it was non-traditionally cold down here this weekend. Windy, Stewie.
Like cold. Like
yeah, I burnt the last of my firewood up. I still got a little bit.
Yeah.
If they want to throw another one of these colds at me, I'll be ready for them. But I'm running out of firewood for sure. But Saturday was brutal, man. I mean, just the rain and the wind to me, that is torture.
Yeah.
Like that is the fact that people like go out and do things in that type of weather. For me, that is, I can ruin a situation for everybody.
Yeah, I'm out
in that type of weather.
I'm out on the cold, rainy, windy.
Cold, wet, rainy, windy. I mean, just brutal for your boy. I mean, the fact that people like get on boats in that type of weather, go on the water in that type of weather,
no chance.
Just, I mean, I think I might hate that person more than anybody in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
The person is just like,
I mean,
we gotta do it.
I mean, we're going where? We're going out fishing. Like, in what?
Bro, it's raining
like,
and it's cold.
In the boat. I don't care. Like, bro, go do it, man. Go do it. All right, we're waiting on Jalen Cook here to come through. So we'll talk to Cook at some point as he made up his mind to transfer back to LSU. He's coming back through here. After spending his freshman season here, he transferred to Tulane for the last 2 years where he's averaged 20 a night. I mean, 20 a night is 20 a night, man, in any league, at any level. So if that can translate over and LSU can get some of that scoring, that would be fantastic for LSU men's basketball. But as we were talking a little bit to close out the hour of men's basketball, and we'll get back to it, the women's basketball program for LSU right now is the hottest brand in the country. Last week, we said that Angel Reese is the most popular women's athlete in the she might be in the world. I mean, but right now we'll call it the country just for the sake of the argument. And if anybody doubted that, to turn on or get wind of Saturday night on Saturday Night Live, that Angel Reese having a portion of the show, really kind of aimed to her, is amazing. I mean, like I can't think of anybody of that stature. Even when Shaq was on campus at LSU, I don't know if they were making skits about him on Saturday Night Live. I mean, it was really, it was kind of stop you in your tracks type promotion for the program. I mean, look, and again, we can sit here and debate on whether or not it was funny or whether or not it was relevant or whether or not it was even deserved to be there. The fact of the matter is that it was. And that on maybe one of the most popular Saturday Night Live segments. And look, I'm not here to tell you that I've watched Saturday Night Live in a long time. I haven't. I mean, it's been decade plus since I have really kind of like cared about what Saturday Night Live was putting out, right? And when I was watching it consistently, it was probably like as far back as like Chris Farley and that group. I mean, I haven't watched it really since then. I do know that culturally, though, in our country, that Saturday Night Live is one of those, it's one of those mile markers. I mean, it's one of those, it's one of those shows, it's one of those icons that everybody understands, that everybody has some relationship with, whether it's an actor or actress, whether it's a comedian, whether it's the show, whether you are just a consistent watcher. I mean, somebody within the degrees of you has a Saturday Night Live story. I know the first time I went to New York City, one of the first things that I did was go get a tour of that studio, of NBC's Saturday Night Live studio. And once you got there, you felt like you were somewhere. I didn't know why. I just felt like because I'm at Saturday Night Live. Right? Like, I mean, like, this is incredible. Like, I mean, how much production has come out of here? How many people have been through here? How many comedic geniuses have stopped by through here? And, like, I'm just chilling right here. Hey, what's that show been in production for? 45 years? 50 years?
Yeah. I mean, let's see.
And again, I'm not trying to turn into a spokesman for Saturday Night Live. I hadn't watched it in a decade plus. But, I mean, it's still on the air, which is wild. How long, Stewie?
Since 1975.
1975, so 5 years older than me. 47 years that thing's been in production. Nearly 50 years that television show has been in production. I don't care whether you like it or hate it. That's success. And Angel Reese had 2 minutes of that show aimed just to her on Saturday night. There was an actress playing Angel Reese on the news desk of Saturday Night Live, maybe their most popular segment and skit, wearing an LSU 10 jersey and a purple headband.
I think it had Reese on the back.
It had to have, pointing at her ring finger. Doing the you can't. I mean, like, it was like, this is amazing. I mean, the production, the programming, the promotion that LSU is getting. I mean, Kim Mulkey she did 6 minutes on Fox News last night. I hate Fox. I don't care. Okay, I'm not getting political. She did 6 minutes on Fox News last night. She's LSU's women's basketball coach. The point of the story is that they are crossing over into the mainstream, into network television, into 50-year television shows. They're getting a little piece of real estate on. And then you look up and you learn that one of the best players in the sport last season, in Haley Van Lith, goes into the transfer portal. And, I mean, it only makes sense that she ends up at LSU, right? I mean, where else is she going to go? Iowa? Did you see the back and forth between Gary Reedus and Angel Reese on Saturday about the transfer portal?
Oh, yeah, on Twitter.
Where Gary Reedus tells the fans, I see what's happening in the portal. You don't have to send me this. Angel Reese quote tweeted and said, yeah, he's putting me to work. Everything that we talked about last week is happening. Every single thing that we were just kind of like speculating was happening. is happening? Regis is seeing these names in the portal and he's saying, Angel, you're the most popular chick in the world right now. DM her. I mean, slide in her mentions real quick, Angel, and see what she would think about coming to play with you in LSU next season. LSU might be the dream team next year.
Yeah.
Did you see Michaela Williams in the USA in the Team USA?
Jesus.
She missed one shot. She took 16. And she wasn't shooting layups. She was shooting 18 to 20 footers all night and hitting nothing but the net. I mean, like, LSU is going to be loaded next year. LSU is going to be must-watch television. If you don't have tickets, if you don't have season tickets, they are going to be fill the arena up every single place they go. Not just at home. People are going to be selling places out on the road to watch Angel and crew take over the arena. I mean, it is going to be a traveling circus. I mean, it's going to be personalities. It's going to be social media. It's going to be NIL. It's going to be Kim Mulkey. It's going to be private planes and 5-star hotels and the national champs. I mean, it's here. I mean, LSU women's basketball is about to turn into Alabama football, where every single year they're just pumping pros out. I mean, she was 6 of 7 from 3-point range, Michaela Williams.
It's ridiculous.
Ace Jordan says she will likely end up at Ohio State.
Who?
Haley Van Lith.
Oh, yeah.
I know coming out of high school, her second on her list was Baylor. Be tough to turn down LSU women's basketball right now if they're asking for you.
Yeah, I wonder if Ohio State has.
I mean, what do I know about Ohio State women's basketball? I just found out they had a program.
I think they were in the, Elite Eight, huh? I get it, but, I don't have Kim Mulkey. Sorry.
Gordon.
I don't have that either.
I mean, the WNBA doesn't have Gordon.
Yeah. Trust me, they ain't spending NIL money at Ohio State on women's basketball.
No.
They got football players driving Lambos over there, coach.
Well, they're not getting the return on the investment. LSU is now getting the return on women's college basketball's investment. Where, I mean, the season's been over for now a week and a day, and they've never left the news cycle. And still not leaving the news cycle. I mean, I listened to Coach K's podcast over the weekend. Kim Mulkey was the guest. I mean, K's sitting there telling her how they used examples of her to motivate her team. Mulkey's sitting there telling him how they used examples of him to motivate her team. It was a love fest.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, it was unreal. I mean, like, just going back and forth for 20 minutes. Man. Hunter Fournette, literally no one has mentioned Ohio State and Van Lith in the same sentence.
Thank you, Hunter.
She's coming to LSU. I mean, this is what we talked about last week, right? When you put someone in place that says, all right, let's focus on athletics at LSU. Like, let's get it right. Finally, right? Somebody has come in here and said, this is how you run a business. This is an investment that you have to put people, time, and energy around. And you have to put resources that you can develop programs around. Now that's what's happening with Scott Woodward. He's come in, found the right people, given the resources, supported financially, and this is LSU athletics when LSU athletics is nurtured, paid attention to, and run by the correct minds. The reason why people are so intimidated about LSU's athletic department, because they know deep down if they ever get it right, if they ever figure it out from the personnel standpoint, and really more than anything, they can keep the politics and the money-hungry politicians and greedy employees out of the power and money, then they will build a monster. A monster. Where they're going to show up in baseball, they're going to show up in football, they're going to show up in women's sports, they're going to show up for whatever is winning. Kelly and I went to a sand volleyball game 3 weeks ago. The place was packed at 6 o'clock on a Saturday night. Why? Because they win. Went to the box last Thursday night for the opening game versus Tennessee. Couldn't put another person inside of that place on a Thursday afternoon. When LSU opens up their football season in Orlando against Florida State, they're going to need more tickets because they're going to buy out their allotment. They're going to buy out the secondary. They're going to buy out the ones on the ground, and they're going to be looking for more. When LSU women's basketball plays big games next year, whether it's on the road or at home, they're going to be a sea of purple and gold behind them. It's a monster, man. It's for the first time in my life, and I'm 42, been covering it now since I've been 28, that they have had the people in place aligned that have the vision, have all the resources, understand the monster that they are feeding every single day, and can turn this thing into a multi-program national championship reigning power at any minute, it feels like. They've gotten the buy-in from name, image, and likeness support. They've created the collective. They've got boosters outside of the collective that want to be a part of it. Buy your tickets now. Bring your kids to the games. Get your kids to campus. Right now, I'm telling you, we are experiencing, if not the beginning, we're in it, of the golden age of LSU athletics. All in all programs. We just came out of football's golden age. They're about to revitalize it and keep it moving. LSU women's basketball is about to hit another skid of golden age. And it feels like the baseball program is about to hit a run here that's going to, be really fun for the next 7 to 10 years. If the basketball program can start to bring some players in and compete at a high level like they were, you're talking about an athletic program that is producing at a national championship clip in 5 sports, all of the majors, outside of men's college basketball right now. Ralph Williams, Jordy, every school could be a monster if they win. Ralph, you know how hard it is to win in every sport on a campus? Name me a university that does it. In all the major sports. There may be some out there, but it'll be real quick of a list. It'll be real short of a list. Think about what LSU's doing right now. They're in the second year of Kim Mulkey, second year of Jay Johnson, second year of Brian Kelly, entering the second year of even a guy like Matt McMahon. 3 of those 4 sports we just rattled off are in the top 5 of their sport. Women's basketball's national champs. LSU baseball is number 1 in the country. I would venture to say that LSU football will be preseason number 5 next year at the beginning of the year. That's a beast. That's a monster. That's a, oh shit, here comes LSU. If you're looking around. This is exactly what, Saban's best friend still lives in Baton Rouge. Like still to this day, like his best friend is Lenny Lemoyne, who owns Lemoyne Construction, or did. I don't know what the power structure of that very successful company is now. I know it's a family-owned and operated company, so I don't know where he is as far as the... But he still goes and hangs out with Saban on the lake. They still take trips together. He still stays with him when he goes to Tuscaloosa for, the LSU game, vice versa. If Saban ever comes in town on a recruiting trip, he's staying at... they are tight, man. And there are people that are close to Lemoyne that say that Saban has always told him that this could be at LSU. Like, he knows that LSU is one of only a few schools that could really, if they have the right people and the right buy-in in place, that the whole program could be just a monster. A monster because of how everything really just adds up, right? The recruiting ground. I mean, you don't have to travel far outside of the base to go get players, which is really the most important part. Saban was really kind of the one that pushed the administration 25 years ago to buy in, to spend money, start building facilities, take that next step, become great, embrace that, hire the right people. Don't go hire the Louisiana guy because he's been doing it the same way the entire time. Go find the best person for the job. And once that really kind of started to take shape, that was that part of it. You're now committed to facilities. You're now committed to personnel. You're now committed to what it takes to win from that standpoint. Then you start incorporating TAF and fundraising and money, and then it changes with NIL, and you got people that buy in with, boosters outside and people that are even internal that are saying, hey, how do we do this collective thing where you can keep up with schools? And once everybody has kind of found their position and found their place, man, LSU is in a place where I'd imagine 2 years from now, think about 2 years ago to 2 years from now. 2 years ago, LSU was at the centerpiece of NCAA investigation, both from their practices of their basketball program and to their sexual conduct or sexual dealings with misconduct amongst athletes and students on campus. LSU was a public relations nightmare 2 years ago. Nightmare. Think about where they are now, where the PR is not quite, not as close to as bad as it was during then. In fact, it's taken a turn where it's really starting to spin positive. To 2 years from now, what it could be. You could be looking at multinational championships in women's basketball, potential national championship in football, potential national championship in baseball, and who knows what else is happening on campus at that time. But, I mean, I think, remember when Woodward was here, the day he sat in for the interview and we asked him about the Mulkey situation and the way that he responded, and now hearing him when he's asked about, hires of Brian Kelly, hires of Jay Johnson, hires of Kim Mulkey, this is LSU. What do you expect? You should expect greatness at LSU. You should expect people want to come to LSU. And that's the mindset that LSU's been missing. LSU's been always very apologetic for being LSU. You don't want the job? Okay, sorry. I didn't mean that. You're like, no, you want this job. Well, yeah, you're going to have to pay me $3.5. Well, here's your $3.5 million, Kim Mulkey. What does that get you in return? It gets you a national championship in 2 years. It gets you a piece of real estate on Saturday Night Live in the middle of April, a week after winning the Natty. It gets your coach 6 minutes of FaceTime on network television. I mean, you think that $3.5 million's worth it? I mean, it takes those types of minds to take those types of choices and guts to write those checks. Well, they got the money. Yeah, they've always had the money. Why wasn't leadership putting these types of people in place the whole time? They've always had the money relative to the time and date of the situation. The market may not have said that you have to pay your basketball coach $3.5 million, but I know that LSU under Joe Oliva was paying their women's college basketball coach $800,000, and at that time, it was a contract that looked at as a cautionary tale because it was the wrong person. Yeah, if you got $800,000 to throw around, that's good. Make sure and give it to the right person, not the one that won't recruit and doesn't care that people aren't showing up. Look what happens when you get the right person. So, I mean, it's not just because they have money that it's going to work. Well, I cut the check. Well, who cares if you cut the check to the wrong person? I mean, it's the alignment. I mean, it's just kind of all the words that we've heard about. Alignment, resources, facilities, money, personnel. It's all kind of adding up for LSU right now. It's fun to watch. It's fun to be a part of. It's fun to cover. It's got to be fun to be a ticket buyer, be a ticket, someone who is invested into the program from a ticket buying standpoint. It feels much different in day and time. Like we said, I mean, it's 2 years ago. It's not a long time. Think about how fast the narrative has changed in just a couple of years to where it could be 2 years from now. I mean, this LSU brand could be a rocket ship, man. And there's also things that you have to learn along the way. I mean, if you're going to take that elevation again, you got to learn some things that beat you up and brought you back down to life, right? I mean, hopefully LSU is never in a situation again where they're, being out front and ridiculed on how they handle sexual harassment. And, hopefully they don't get caught in situations where they're bringing in the wrong personnel and just allowing them to exist. But right now it feels like it's incredible to be a part of the program because it feels like it's, like I said, it's on a rocket ship, man. Remember Daily, we're brought to you by Premier South Roofing and Sheet Metal. Premier South Roofing and Sheet Metal, our good friends, and they have really set themselves apart as far as their roofing experts go. They're Louisiana's premier roofing expert with call centers waiting on you now in Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette, and North Shore. All you got to do is log on to PremierSouthLA.com. If you need a repair or a replacement, Premier South Roofing can help you out today. They can help you with commercial roofing, metal roofing, residential roofing. If you need a roof repair or roof maintenance, Premier South Roofing can help you. All the weather that came through this weekend, all the rain, if you have any leaks, get in touch with our friends over at Premier South today. Online, PremierSouthLA.com, PremierSouthLA.com, reminding you every single day, remember, if your roof is 8 years or older, if your roof has been there since for 8 or more years, odds are you qualify for a brand new roof. You definitely qualify for a free inspection from the pros over at Premier South Roofing and Sheet Metal. So get in touch with them today. PremierSouthLA.com, PremierSouthLA.com. And like I said, if you had some leaking come through over the weekend with all the rain, or if your roof is 8 years older or more and you just want that inspection to see what's going on, let the pros over at Premier South Roofing consult with you today. Get in touch with them online, PremierSouthLA.com. Doesn't matter where you are, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette, North Shore area, coming soon to Fairhope and Daphne, Alabama. Online, PremierSouthLA.com, PremierSouthLA.com. We'll be back with more of the Jordy Culotta Show, built by R&B Builders.
Hey Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, whether you need to fill up your vehicle or your belly, stop by Go-Mart and On The Go Deli. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you might need on your trip. So stop by Go-Mart at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left, and visit Tom and Wright Granning and their awesome team at Go-Mart.
Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college, for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones.
Don't let the name fool you. Men's Total Health has offerings for the ladies, too. Guys, is your wife or partner suffering from urinary incontinence, low sexual desire, or pain during sex? Then the O-Shot might be for her. Don't let it scare you. It's totally natural. It's PRP. And Mike Roach and the crew at Men's Total Health will make you as comfortable as you can be. Contact me for more information, Katie at JordyCulottaShow.com, and I'm happy to tell you everything that Men's Total Health has to offer for the ladies.
Fourier Insurance Agency, established in 1946, locally can help you with any of your home, auto, commercial, contractors, life and health insurance today. Give them a call, 225-383-0682, or log online to FourierAgency.com.
Hey, she's on her way up.
Hey, G, I got you something.
Hey, Coach. What do you think? Is this too much?
If you look good, you play good.
All right, then. Let's get it done.
Donaldsonville Glass and Body, the trusted name in frame, body, and automotive paint repair since 1977. They have served their customers for over 45 years. You can find them online at dgbauto.com or stop in and see them Railroad Avenue and Division Street out in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Look, they can help you with your insurance claims. They can make the repair process as stress-free as possible. I'm speaking from experience here. I've got numerous windshields, body repair, all done by Kenny and the crew over at Donaldsonville Glass and Body. They are, without question, the most well-equipped shop in the area. Stop in and see them today. Shop them online, dgbauto.com, or stop in and see the crew over in Division Street in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Donaldsonville Glass and Body. Hey fellas, it's Jordy Culotta for my friends over at Men's Total Health. Guys, do you suffer from fatigue, decreased libido, erectile dysfunction, weight gain or loss of muscle mass, signs of depression, anxiety, hair loss, mental fog, general loss of interest? Then you might be suffering from low testosterone. Go see my friend Mike Roach and his great team over at Men's Total Health, over in Metairie at menstotalhealth.net online. And stop in and see how they can change your life today. A simple shot and some knowledge from Mike Roach can get you back up, moving with your energy, get your sex drive back, build your muscle mass, make you feel young again. All online, menstotalhealth.net. Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
Get Gordon and get it done. Get Gordon and get it done. Corrects done. Personal injury done. Workers' comp done. Truck wrecks done. Get Gordon and get it done. Get Gordon and get it done.
All right, welcome back here to a Monday edition. We'll confuse you with Jalen Cook. We're going to have him in the studio one day this week. I look forward to catching up with him. Thanks for everybody for stopping by here on this Monday as we get going here throughout the week. We will have our regular conversations. We'll talk to Doug Thompson at some point coming up here, probably tomorrow, on his reaction to LSU baseball last weekend. We'll continue the discussion on this LSU women's team as they continue to see their star shine even brighter here in the offseason. As well, Alexis Morris has been invited to attend tonight's WNBA draft as she will be there in New York City as it will air tonight at 6 o'clock on ESPN. So hopefully we find out something here on Haley Van Lith here pretty soon. Get ready for some good news is what I'm hearing. And we will have more for you tomorrow. Please hit that like button, share button, comment button. Hopefully everybody had a good Easter weekend, and we'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Stay tuned, mic'd up this afternoon. You will want to catch this one as Jay Johnson will be in for his regular Monday interview with the boys. Have a great Monday. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m.